And the topic will help communities, not just our communities, mine and yours, where we live, but other communities. So in the chat, do remember that to keep the conversations clean. Please be respectful of all other people in the chat. Do follow, like, and share each other's stuff if you feel like. And just be mindful of each other. And yeah, let's get right into it. So, Emperor, what are we talking about today?
Well, before we get started, I know we got some hello messages I'd like to get to. We're also live on YouTube for those that are following. So your questions will come across live on YouTube. I just want to throw that out there so nobody's surprised. And if you want to go to the YouTube and see myself live, I'm not sure Good Vibes Only want to join me, but we'll see. And if anybody may want to come up who's listening and they may want to come on the live and discuss whatever, may have a question and they don't mind being live, I don't mind sharing the link as well. So with that being started, my name is Emperor Koolie. Most people call me King Koolie. Right. And I deal mostly in spirituality and things of that nature. Today's topic, well, I don't, it could be open, it's not going to be too, I don't want it to seem like a class forum. I want people to join in. I'd rather us be like in a discussion, like we were all sitting on the grass in Central Park or something. But I'd like it to be that kind of a summit type of deal. It'd be great. I'm gonna, expound on certain things, but I like more feedback because that's the kind of thing I was expecting more of from the listeners.
Well, this is how we want to do this forum. We want to open the platform that people can come up and say what's going on in their communities and what skills we all have, because we all naturally have skills that can help each other that we're not using at present. We just have these skills just sat there with them and we could pass it on to someone else. But we just want to find out what it is that we are struggling with in our communities, things that we will see in our environments that, we don't know where to turn for advice or where to turn for help. Right. And to see if we can look at those areas, and if we can implement anything, then we do go ahead and implement stuff. Do understand that this conversation is not just today. We will be opening this conversation more often for other people to come across and have these conversations more often. Right. But I just don't want to be having just conversations. We want to be implementing things. And a lot of times when we talk about implementing things, people think it costs money. But we already have natural skills that we can pass on to each other. And, we're thankful for this platform that, we can all come together virtually and we can all share things with each other that can help each other. And do remember, keep it respectful. Keep, understanding that people have their own boundaries and we don't want to step over those boundaries. And just be happy and, have a good time while you're here. That's what we're here to do, It's called the Good Vibes Show for a reason, but it's all of our show while we do the summit. And we just want to come together in a peaceful way, in a respectful way with each other, and just to deal with some of the things that we're not dealing with on a daily basis. We don't want to sweep anything under the carpet anymore. We want to deal with them head on. So, Emperor, do take it away.
Yeah, I want to hear some of the opening messages, and then my thing I was thinking about is speaking about energy. Like,
okay, good topic, amazing topic.
Yeah, energy, doing the work for ourselves, not expecting nobody to do it for you. Some things we have to do for ourselves, and that's like, especially when it comes to our own health. Nobody can do that for you but you. And I also want to speak about respect.
Most definitely.
Because respect is, the word respect comes from the word, as vision or spectacle, things like that. So you don't want to, in order to see or respect somebody, you got to look at them and give them a good look. Like, don't take things for face value. You might hear this and that and the other. I might say some things that you may not agree with, but don't say, oh, and then throw out everything, you know, just because of the one or two things that you may not agree with somebody. My thing is energy. You can feel people's energy. You can feel truth. Truth has an energy. Love has a frequency. You can feel it. You know, don't be afraid to show love. Don't be afraid to be honest. Oh, it's not good to be honest because you feel like you're square. You're not one of the cool kids. Don't be afraid of telling the truth. Don't be afraid of wanting peace. There's nothing wrong with wanting peace. And I don't want to argue. I don't want to fight. I just want peace. Don't be afraid to say some of the things that you want to hear from other people. Because if you're not saying it, they're not going to say it. You know, you got to be sometimes the first one to say something and speak up for others that may not be able to speak up for themselves. That's what I wanted to speak about.
Most definitely. Can you hear me clearly, or do I sound?
I can hear you clearly. How about me to you?
I can hear you clearly.
Okay. So we'll just go. I want to say 1 second also on YouTube. We have Bertha Bele. She's here. Good morning. Grand rising to you. She's the first one. We also have CC Jackson on YouTube watching. And we have Mr. Pimp watching. I'm sorry?
I feel like I haven't seen CC Jackson forever.
Yeah, me too. But she's seeing me, though. Live on YouTube, guys.
Awesome.
Now, I don't know if anybody, like I said, anybody, even CC, all the people from the Royal Family, if you wanted to say hi or jump in on the live or as well on YouTube, I will send the link, Mr. Pimp, P-I-M-P as well. If you want a link to this channel, we can do that, but we'll just stay muted on our YouTube side so that we can respect the stereo size platform. But we're able to, anybody who wants the link, just let me know. All right. We're gonna play some of these messages. I'll leave it all on you. Good vibes. Only thing I just have to ask if there are some priorities we would have to. Now, speaking of which, we've been trying to get you to turn your color purple for many days now, and everybody's been reaching out. You have said yes and no, thank you many times. Is that still the case? Because we're wondering, you okay with that?
Yeah. It's nothing against you or anybody else. I've received many codes, but as it is, I'm here for a particular purpose.
Okay.
And the purple button is not why I'm here right now, and it's no disrespect to anyone. It's just that I'm here to do the work. And as you know, I have a set purpose, and I know what my purpose is. And right now, the purple button in any way or form is not included.
Right.
So yes. Maybe in the future if that's what God wants for me, but at present I just want to focus on why I'm here and the work that I'm here to do.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear because you know, some people might take it like, well, why didn't she get back to the? No, I just wanted you to be able to say what it was.
Yeah, I did just sent you know, you saw what I sent to you. That's
yes,
not
I
because
knew.
I didn't want to talk to you at the time.
Right.
I was dealing with some people passing, and in the past week we've had a couple of deaths. So I'm actually a support unit for my community and some people also in my family. So I had to go ahead and deal with that.
Right.
And that's my life on a daily basis. If I'm not dealing with somebody in transition passing, I'm actually dealing with people that's lost loved ones and not able to know how to deal with it.
Right.
And outside of that, I do run Solution Lab, and I do run the Self-Care Hub, which is Self-Care Sundays. So my hands are pretty full normally. So sometimes I do try and acknowledge by just putting a prayer hand or, you know, putting a love heart. But I do intend to get back to everybody. And I mean, those of you who know me know that I will go through the list and do answer everybody's messages. My inbox is absolutely full, and it's gotten even more full since this summit has started. So if I haven't got back to you, I will definitely be getting back to you. It's just that sometimes we do have emails and text messages and inboxes, DMs that are more pressing, and people are in need of that help. So I have to work in line with who is actually in need of help at that time. So don't feel like I'm ignoring anyone. If I haven't got back to you as yet, that's because my hands are full at present. And you know, I have to be disciplined because I also have to look after number one, which is myself, because, you know, my health is my greatest wealth. And if I'm not, you know, 100%, then I cannot give 100% to anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yes.
And also, before we go any further, for those of you who did not start with us on Saturday, you can go back and check day one of the summit. We spoke about children, which are our future. We also had a relationship show. Yesterday, we spoke about love. And today, we're speaking about energy. So thank you so much, guys, for coming out. Please share the show and do get involved. Do send your questions in. All I ask is just to be mindful of everybody that's in the room and be respectful of everyone that's in the room. That's all. All right. Would you like me to pop these bubbles for you?
Yes. Go ahead.
No, King Koolie, I'm not 2 weeks older than MC Hammer. MC Hammer is 2 weeks older than me. I got mixed up with my birthday is 2 weeks after his.
Okay. Thank you, Crazy Crow. That's just a feedback from the last conversation.
Okay, and then we got King Metro in the building. Thank you, King
Metro.
for coming through.
Yo, what's going on? I'm just checking in. I see you guys going live. So far, yeah, I was able to switch from the UK to USA. And we all pick up the place and check in. All go on. Everything all right? What are we talking about?
Today's day 3 of the summit, and today's topic is energy. So thank you for coming out, King. We appreciate you. I'm sending you an abundance of blessing. And yeah, enjoy the show. Right, King Koolie, let's get into it. Where do you want to start first?
Again, I just want to say for people who may have just come in, we're also live on YouTube. So if you tap my avatar, you can see that we're live on YouTube. So if you do comment, just know that you may be live on YouTube at the same time. So yeah, we could start, I guess, with the energy, what I call divine feminine, divine masculine energies, which has nothing to do with gender, not the physical body, but each one of us has these forces within us. Some say they're negative and positive. Some say it's the lower self, the higher self. But it's really divine feminine, divine masculine coming together. They say, like, okay, the sun, some believe the sun is masculine and the moon is feminine. And when I was in Europe, some said the moon was masculine and the sun was feminine. Has nothing to do with gender. Again, like I said, it's energy. So with this world, the way religion has gone and stuff, it took the so-called matriarchal energy of knowing that there was a divine mother and a divine father to create a divine child, such as the prophets and some in the gods and in religion. We're not going to get into religion, but I just want to make a comparison how in religion it seems like the woman or the divine feminine was kind of removed, if you will, from all the great stories. They're there as helpers, as sometimes the one who did the evil thing or was the evil thing. So I think that because of it, we have a lot of disconnect between men and women, period, or gender wars and all kind of stuff like LGBT. The reason why we have these communities, which it's not like they never existed in the past, but there was no need to separate them. There was no need to give them titles and labels. That's an energy as well. When they give you a color label like black and you're white and you're yellow, you're orange, you're green, those are energies that can trigger emotions and trigger us to do things outside of the self. Normally in a natural environment, you probably wouldn't matter. But influences from others and how they're gonna see you, how you worried about how people are gonna see me today, or how they're gonna feel if I don't do this or I don't do that, or am I not gonna be down with the cool kids anymore? That's not conducive to you. That's not helping you, because you're still seeing yourself as an individual. in an individual world with a bunch of individuals. When you go in the forest, the trees know they have a consciousness of themselves, but they don't see themselves as one tree in a forest. They just see themselves as the forest. We can't see ourselves as humanity, living human experiences with divine souls within us or without us, or however you might want to see it. But it's symbiotic. There's not one without the other. Why, what? Now, let's say if you were the creator of all things and you decided to come on down and check on your creatures, because that's what we would be. If you're the creator, we would be your creations or creatures, depending on who's who, on what you're vibrating at. But would you not want to visit your creation, check on it, put yourself within everything that existed so that they can remind themselves that they were created by something that loved them? Like, that's what it really is. Now, we're missing out on a lot of it. That energy, that inner God. You don't have to be religion, but that's energy. God could be that thing that which moves you, controls you, sustains you, gives you life and possibly death. Those things can happen with the mind alone. Your mind can trick you into a depression, trick you into loneliness. It can trick you into having a broken heart, and people have died from a broken heart. That's energy. Nobody came and snuffed their life out. It was caused by energy, by lack of love or energy. That's where we come into the inner me. So my enemy, or my inner me, has to be defeated by my energy. So we have energy for a reason. So you can defeat that which is dark. You bring light into a dark room. Is, like I said, I think I've said before, it's going to disappear. Darkness has no place. So that's the kind of energy I want to expound upon.
Okay. So where would you like me to start, Emperor?
Maybe we can hear the next message as we can keep going, so we don't get too far behind, because we might change the subject a few times, and I want to keep up as much as we could.
Okay, most definitely.
Hello, master. Hello, message.
Peace. Hello.
Thank you, brother, for coming through. I appreciate you.
Well, I thank you for the conversation and the talk. You know, a lot of us tend to sit back and we be quiet, but you know, you be at home in a lot of areas for a lot of us. And King Koolie, you be on point. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that.
Thank you, Emperor.
Well, a lot of times, sometimes with the throat chakra, which is another energy field, spinach energy fields of light, as they call it. You have some speak, and then you have to listen some. That's the whole balance of the throat chakra. People think that you have to talk. That's how you get your throat chakra in order. No, sometimes you have to be quiet too. That's part of it. So you need both: quiet, listen, use your ears, and then speak. Don't be so quiet all the time. That's not good either. That's not balancing your throat chakra. That's not balancing that energy field. Speak up, or somebody's going to speak up for you. And I mean, you think slavery happened overnight? No, it was gradually. It was by the stroke of a pen here and there. It was by acquiescence. Do you know, if you go to court and somebody says, or if I sent Good Vibes Only a letter, a nice legal letter, stating that she owes me $1 million, and she's like, well, I don't even know King Koolie like that. Like, there's no way I owe him $1 million. I'm just going to ignore it. Do you know, by ignoring that in law, that means acceptance? It's an energy that says I accept by being silent.
Yes, by saying nothing.
Saying nothing.
It's also an answer.
If your boyfriend or husband or girlfriend is beating your ass every day, and pardon my language, pardon my energy, I'm gonna reframe. But if you guys are having domestic violence or issues, and you say nothing daily while this is going on, it says a lot about you. And it ain't the abuser. Yeah, it says a lot about them too. But it says a lot about the one that gets abused and says nothing. Maybe it's hard. Maybe it's difficult. There's different reasons why. But figure out a way to say, you're not going to do this to me anymore. Like, no. No is no. Like, at the end of the day, it's very powerful, no. Even if without a weapon, no is powerful.
It depends on how long you've been in that situation. So sometimes, sorry, you can be in a situation for so long that you've given your power away, because no one can take your power from you, right. But you can choose to give it away.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, the longer you stay in that mindset, because it's not a place that you're in, it's your mind. Your mind determines every move that you make. So the longer you stay in that mindset is the longer it's going to take you to come out. And the longer it takes you to come out of that mindset is the longer it's going to take you to open your mouth and speak. So it depends on the situation.
And some people don't have that kind of time. Some people's situations are a lot more severe. So sometimes time is of an essence. I mean, I have a daughter. My daughter is 25, and I tell her the same thing. I mean, she has a choice to make her choices, so I'm not going to go in blazing, like Superman, which my soul would tell me that's the best thing to do, but these are her choices as an adult. What do we do?
You can only give the tools that individual needs. So in your case, like, you can only give the tools, and you cannot do the job for that individual. You can leave the tools, and whenever they're ready, they will use them. Sometimes people are never ready.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people are never ready to themselves. So, by giving them the tools, then it's just down to them whether they use those tools or not.
Mm-hmm. Now, not to say that this is happening. My daughter's an amazing person. I'm just saying, with my one daughter and 4 boys, I think about it a lot because she's the only. So I'm always making sure that I don't trample on her strength to be a woman, because I might not have done the same for their mothers. So I want to definitely make sure I don't make certain mistakes with my daughter that I might have made in my youth with her mom.
And that's, I respect you for that. Like, not many emperors can come out here, but then again, let me rephrase that, because when you are a king or a knight, then you don't have, that power in you to come up and say certain things. Some kings do. But when you go into emperor status, there is nothing that you fear. There's no mistakes or, shortcomings that you will have that you won't be able to face. And that's the beauty about being an emperor. You can see your shortcomings. You can open up about them. And in actual fact, it can help somebody else to not make the same mistakes or to correct themselves. So thank you.
And I got to tell you, once I got to that point of realization, I realized also I have no regrets. I couldn't see that before. I regretted this and that, I'm this, I'm that, oh my God. But then I got to a point where those so-called, what I called before mistakes, weren't mistakes at all. They were actually building blocks, growth, changes. Oh my God, I didn't see what they were before. I so much see it now at 53 in retrospect.
Well, I actually call it your valley moment. Everybody have a different terminologies for these things. I would call it your valley moment. And your valley moment is your learning time. So you've learned about yourself. And you were able to, move away from certain things and implement certain things in your life. And in actual fact, what you actually did was free yourself. Right. And a lot of us is not free. A lot of us is not free to go and come as we please. And when I say go and come as we please, meaning that, sometimes we have things that trap us because we're trapped in our heads. We're always overthinking things. And by releasing those things and understanding that, yes, I may have not made the right choices at the time, by, looking at those things and correcting oneself and releasing the things that no longer serve you, help you to be free and for you to be able to move forward. And also use those as a tools to help other people because you've already had the experience.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So you just claim back your freedom. That's what you did. So you're a free man, Emperor Koolie. A free man, free.
Right.
Many of us are trapped in fear because of some past mistakes that we made or not so good decisions that we made. And we worry about what other people are going to think about us. But the person you were a year ago is not the person you are today. Even yesterday, the person who you were is not the person who you are today. Today's a different day. And every day we get a chance to turn a new page and write a new story, write new memories that we want to put in that new chapter. It's down to each one of us.
Not only that,
I would like to say,
we shed cells.
Not to hold
dead cells every day, and we grow new ones. And these new cells are not like the old ones that left. They're upgraded. So you're upgrading every day, every moment. You're always changing, constantly changing, constantly.
Yes, the only thing that's constant is change. We change, we evolve, we grow, and that's the only way you could have complete flow. Complete audience with the divine. If you're not flowing, then what are we doing? If we're not moving forward, if we're not changing, if we're not evolving, what exactly are we doing?
Being emotional. Being emotional, right? Nothing wrong with being emotional. Let me make it clear, because having emotions and dealing with them is one thing, but being emotional and holding or harboring these emotions and not dealing with it, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Not energy in motion, and we go back to energy again. Stagnant energy is like energy in a pond, and you see the flies and the damn mosquitoes is flying around it, and that's your cells, that's your soul, that's you. When you're stagnant and your energy is not moving, you're holding and harboring emotions that bring back old memories. Like you're not growing, you're dying. That's what death is. I'm just saying.
And this actually correlates with a conversation we had a few weeks back where we spoke about, doing the inner work.
Right.
I'm actually going within, looking at self, not passing any judgment, but actually just being authentic with self. Yesterday on the show, I spoke about love. And, a lot of people don't know that it's okay. It's okay to love. In all areas of your life, it's okay to love. But we never want to totally accept our real self. And the person who you show the world and the person who you are when you close the door, put down the phone, is two different persons. And until you marry those two, you will never be free. Until you come in, divine, compatibility with self, because the only way you can be compatible with the true self within, with the outside, because what we do, we put on a facade to what we want the world to see. But in actual fact, sometimes the world don't choose that person that we show to them. The world actually can catapult to the person who is really within. And we're so scared to be, we feel vulnerable to show our real self. So, the game around this monopoly is to understand self, to understand that doing the inner work don't make you a lesser human being. It makes you completely a human being. And in order to be a whole entire person, you have to go inside. You have to look at self. You have to look at what's the barrier between you and the inner you. And in order to marry the outer you and the inner you have to break down those walls. You have to break down those barriers, and you have to connect with self and connect with the universe. If you don't subscribe to the creator, then you subscribe to the universe or whatever it is that you subscribe to. Yes, but you have to go within and do that work in order to understand energy and how energy really flows and really moves. You have to do that inner work.
Right. Profound. I agree. And also, you should be happy to do that work though. Like once you start doing it, it's like, okay, you're exercising, you ain't used to exercising. So the first few days you don't want to do it. But you get used to doing it on a regular. Now you can't stop doing it. If you don't do it, you feel like crazy. So it's the same when you're doing energy work for yourself. When you stop doing it, or when you haven't been doing it, you're not missing nothing. You ain't missing shit. Probably myself. But when you do the work and you've seen what it done for you, and you go back to not doing the work, oh, you want to run back to doing the work. You know the difference. You know.
Well, in actual fact, you are missing something. It's just that you don't know what you're missing. So a lot of times we will do many different things. And no matter what you do, no matter which different career you have or which different business you open, you'll find that you'll never be at peace with self because
you're still seeking something
outside of self.
I agree.
But by going within and doing the inner work, the first thing one needs to stop doing is being judgmental of self. So when you stop judging yourself, you will stop allowing others outside of self to judge you. But if you continue to judge self, then the judgment from others will always be a problem to you. So the first lesson of getting into doing the work is to stop judging self. Accept yourself wholeheartedly. No matter what you find in there, accept self. And then you can start doing the inner work. If you don't accept self, then you won't be able to do the work. And even if you tell anybody you're doing the work, if they've actually done the work, they can see. They don't have to come and tear you down and say, oh, well, no, you haven't done the work. No, but they would be able to see. And then those people may navigate away from you. And, people will be wondering, why does no one want to be around me? Or why does no one, want to be my friend? And they don't understand is that you telling someone that you've done the work and actually doing the work, for those who have done the work, they cannot stop the journey for you. They can only leave the tools behind for you to do that work. They can give you the navigation to go forward. They cannot do it for you. And even if somebody, I've heard many individuals of recently say, oh, but sometimes you have to wait and do the work with them and ascend. But then that person go ahead and leave you behind. But then you're thinking that, okay, now they've ascended and left you behind. But in actual fact, they haven't ascended. They've just lied to themselves. And when they get further 10 blocks of the road, they realize that they've come to an obstacle and they don't know how to go around it, go over it, because they haven't done the work. So now you've got to go back. And all the steps that you've skipped, you've got to go back and do them again. But sometimes people have to go right down ground zero in order to go forward because they don't realize where they messed up. They don't know where they, skipped a step. And that's where the confusion comes in. So most times as humans, we have to start from ground zero again. But don't be disheartened. I mean, we're all humans. So I don't want anybody to feel disheartened if this has happened to you. It just tells you that you're humans and we will always, you don't call it a mistake. You call it a learning curve. Right. So say you've done something before and, when you reach up the road, the first thing you think, okay, it's not working, I failed. You haven't actually failed. Failure is when you chose to just throw the baton down and says, okay, the race is over. That's when you failed. But if you go back to the start line, you will know by doing that journey again, doing that race again, you will remember, okay, I got to 300 meters, and this is where I skipped, and I decided that I didn't need to turn the bend. I could just run across the field and get to the other side. So this time, you have to run the bend. If you don't run the bend, you won't know what's around that corner. So if you keep running across the field because you want to win, in actual fact, you're not winning anything. You're just going back to ground zero every time.
Mm-hmm.
But self-work is supposed to be something that is not enjoyable when you start doing it, especially if you've never done it. That inner work, if you've never done it, it's one of the most excruciating stuff. You cry, you scream, you are annoyed with the creator, you're annoyed with the world, but you're on your own. You're on your own, and you don't come from ground zero until, you will see daylight. The sun will come out, but it's the process. It's not pretty. If you ask all the kings and emperors that's done the work, they will tell you, I looked rough. My hair was wild for a long time, for that period that I went through, the work. My beard grew long, and I didn't care about it because, you don't look pretty when you're doing the work. Good Vibes will tell you, when I did the work, I stood in my shower at times and cried. I'd be in my bed and cried. So when you hear like Lauren Hill, as I mentioned yesterday in yesterday's show, says sometimes you have to be kicked and you have to be beaten. Sometimes it's not physical, it's
right.
spiritual.
I was gonna say right, not physical. Right.
You go through that process. It's worse than somebody physically kicking and beating.
Yeah, sometimes they need that too. People that probably need a good physical. That's why they're in jail, and that's why some people do different things. I agree, but I never had to put my hand on my children, so that's the one good thing. I don't think it has to be done to children and things like that. I'm not in agreement with that.
Oh no, but as an adult, when you're doing the so we're out here and we say, our energy, and where energy goes, it flows, and it sounds all pretty and all sparkly, and it just sounds very divine and sounds all send someone, the divine will put someone on your path. But the only way he can put people on your path to help you on the journey is if you're actually doing the work. You can't cut corners. And you cannot, you can fool yourself. You can fool people in the world, but you cannot fool God himself. Or, if you subscribe to the universe works hand in hand. You cannot fool the universe. It is what it is. So, there's no going around doing the work. It's either you're going to do the work or you're not. And as I said, Good Vibes. I've had my time, and the work never stops. In order for your energy to flow and for your energy to be clean, you have to do the work every day. It's just that once you get to that place where you can see daylight, it becomes a part of you. It becomes practicing to a habit, and from a habit to a part of your life, your everyday life. You don't have to think about doing the work because it becomes a part of you. But the work is not pretty, but it's worth it. That's what I can say to you. It's worth it. So where energy is concerned, in order to get your energy moving, and in order, because we have many different forms of energy. We have some that we call bad energy. We have some that we call good energy. You have the in-between energy. And the in-between energy is when you're neither one or the other. You're not accepting. What we actually call bad energy is actually the energy that's teaching you. You haven't done the work, so you have to go back down to ground zero. And a lot of times you say,
They cut me off. Next thing I know, I was in a room with somebody else.
I know. I
I'm
just
like,
seen you just
what happened? I'm not sure what happened, but I wasn't even touching anything. I started hearing other people talking, and I'm like, what happened?
Man, just come in. I wasn't being rude to him or anything, but the live. Okay, let me start again.
Oh, so it was you stopped it. You stopped it. Oh.
You left. It just
so.
Yes, it's fine. I mean, these things happen. We do have really bad weather where I am in the UK.
Oh, okay.
That's
I don't know. When I know I was somewhere else.
Yeah, I saw another young man come up, but I do think that stereo at times will try and get us to speak to other people. But, the work must go on. You will have obstacles, but we know exactly how to get those obstacles out of our way.
Wow.
And we'll just it.
Yeah, I was having an amazing.
We'll keep going.
Yeah. So, you were saying, do the energy work. Yeah, that's very important. Very important.
The energy work is very important because, if you don't do the work, you might think, we have what we call bad energy. Good. You work on because you've already had what to do. So anybody of no effort, would you want to give that up? No, you wouldn't. Because it brings you peace. Laughter. You're gonna end up with. We locked all of our bubbles before, so we have 2 more bubbles now. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna let you speak, and then we're gonna play the bubbles, so we're not. It was a soft. To go and do something to try and, disturb the peace, but we're not faced by that. Okay, we're not faced by that. We're in a good place, and we're going to continue to be in a good place. So go ahead, Emperor.
Yeah, well, no, I agree. If we could just, there's something you look up Merkaba, and I think it's Merkaba, Merkaba. Anyway, divine masculine, divine energy coming together. It's bringing the lower self and higher self together, balancing at the heart. So it goes back to opening up your heart, and I know that's a scary thought for a lot of people. But
in actual fact, it comes up as breathing, it comes up as meditation, it comes up as pendants, it comes up as the meaning in Hindu. So which one are you trying to find out? Right. Meditation, Egypt?
Yeah, they're all good because you have the heart. See, the problem mainly is the heart. The brain, the mind, we listen to the mind, the brain all day long and ignore the heart. The heart speaking as well. The heart doesn't deal in negatives and positives, it just deals in absolutes. But the mind will deal in polarity, duality. And that's where we like to get stuck. That's messed up what they did to black people. That's true, it is. That's messed up what they did to white people. It is. And Asian, it is. But we need to stop doing things to people and to each other. Not because they're just it's not right to do any harm to anyone. We have to look at color.
Did you say
look at frequency.
Merkaba,
Merkaba, Merkaba, Merka.
Yes, so it says here macabre, and it has meditation next to it. Is an immutable energy process that helps you realize your fullest capabilities. The name macabre sounds in, but it is an inherent quality for being. So when you spoke about love, it actually is in alignment with that. Meditation open up infinite possibilities of your existence, elevate your being, and helps you enjoy wholeheartedly. Go through our entire comprehensive guide to macabre meditation to understand the concept. Okay, what is the meaning of macabre? Such an unusual name. Right, let's break it down and figure it out. Similar to the Egyptian mummies, macabre is intriguing and layered. To put it simply, mer means a light that rotates within. Ka means and that's the analogy of macabre. So you actually
again, even can we break it down to
look at it. And R means a light in itself. Calm K means spirit. And Ba is the physical body.
The house, right. That's him, right. So now imagine that. Woo, that's empowering.
Macabre is the primal pattern of existence. It is mentioned in the Bible as in energy. In ancient Egypt, macabre was considered as three separate words. Macabre done by meditation, and that's what we are going to. Macabre meditation. Okay, so it shows you the symbols of how it works, and it gives you all the information of how to do that meditation itself. So it gives you pictures, and if anyone is interested, you can look up the word, and it tells you all the parts. I never know the meditation that I'm led to do. I already so I get notes and I do as and outside of that I've got I do the creator with me to do disobedience for a while. For them, so being at peace, I'm no reason
messed up. They had money, they were broke, they were poor, they were honest, but they had beautiful lives. Peaceful.
In actual fact, the prophet,
you have to be rich to have a beautiful life, but you don't have to have a lot of money. Right. Right. And the mental.
And the mental. We should start taking some of these bubbles because we have Easy and E left quite a few messages. So let's start popping these bubbles and you could answer some of his questions for him if he has questions.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just somewhere else too, and I don't understand it. But it might have been the subject we were talking about, like handles and titles and names.
Right.
But the place where I imagine is life that's nature, not only just people, and I imagine kings and queens to be surrounded by their subjects, but to be in touch with who you are, you got to be surrounded by life that is around you and strive in that environment, not just an environment of buildings and structures that we make, even though they're necessary to live in the environment that.
Right. Nature, balance, and technology, not one for the other.
You see, we've been given a wealth of knowledge as humans, and we sometimes go overboard. So, you know, a lot of times being here in the UK, and I will see like a plot and some trees and a few nice things to, help because birds come into play. It's never in. Every plot of land has to have a house that they can rent or sell.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to nature, we no longer value what we have. And then there will come a time when we've, deface the land because the ecosystem is what the job that was doing. No, they won't. It will take them about 300 years to do the job. That's the carry millions of gallons of water. Trees to, evaporate, the ecosystem, at night when we sleep and we don't have a care. The world and the sky for. But we don't just things, but they we become stagnant. And when we cut down the trees and deface the landform, then the land itself becomes stagnant. So, everything works hand in hand. You cannot have one without the other. You need a balance.
Mm-hmm. Both. Balance. In the Quran, it says to stay on the narrow path. That's the sine wave. Don't go too far away from the sine wave. Like the sine wave is going to go to and fro from balance, from center, but don't sway too far from the narrow path.
Right, we have Crazy Crow. He has 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we're going to pop these bubbles one after the other, and then we'll move forward.
And some people have to wear clothes, and some people don't wear clothes. Depends on the environment.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so true.
Well, sometimes that energy is technology, and the way I see it, technology can lead you to a place that you don't need technology, not even a match to light a fire. So people have their different views and get their energy from different things, and I realize I need technology right now, but I'm looking for that place that I don't need that technology, with the aid of technology to get me there.
Well, right now we use technology to connect with each other as the world is in lockdown right now. And, I often look at how things are at present, and I think to myself,
thank God for technology.
And their great-grandparents, they had to send a telegram. How long would it have taken for a telegram to get to a family member across the world somewhere? And now we're in an era where you can just pick a phone up, dial the last number. You don't even have to put in the number anymore. The phone have that for you. There was a time when you had to remember numbers or have a phone book that you written the numbers down in. Now these things, they store them for you, and all you have to do is just press a button and you can speak to someone on the other end. All we have to do now is to download a app, and I can just press call, and I'm able to call Emperor Koolie. How amazing is that?
Yep.
We never used access to these things. But at present, if we should go back to a time when we don't have to use technology, then that's the disconnect. So we'll be disconnected from each other. So the only way I could say to go forward without technology is to have a system where your tribe, your soul tribe, is all in the same place. And you're in a city, a town, a country where you all live together, and you're all in, reasonable reach of each other. So, you can access each other in that way. Right now, we're all in different countries, all in different states. No one is around the corner from the other person. So in order to stop using technology, and Crazy Crow, I don't mean yourself, but the world as a whole, then we would have to find a way of being able to connect with each other. I mean, we could go back to when we had pigeons would send the message across the world, because we actually forget that, these things can actually decide tomorrow not to work, and we are not in contact. So we do remember that we have the old ways of doing things, but when is the last time we trained a pigeon to bring a message? So, you have to think about these things.
Right. So,
well, sometimes when you think you're not doing harm to somebody, they think that you're really harming them. Like you throw them out of their routine, and then they get mixed up, and then they feel that you've harmed them. So then they resort to getting even with you. Some cases.
Well, the pandemic, for one, we can use that as an example, has been very harmful to the human race. You know, it shut us out from our families. I mean, can you imagine being in a country where your family is just down the road 20 minutes and someone dies and you're not allowed to go to their funeral? We had a time when people were being buried without their family. Children were being buried without their family, you know? So we've come a long way. You know, we're a year in to this thing, and now you can attend a loved one's funeral. Now you can attend a wedding. I mean, there's not many things that we can do at present, but at least to lay a loved one to rest, you're able to attend. Not many can turn up at the funeral, but the important family members are able to be present for these things. And there was a time when we couldn't do that. So, you know, we've had a chance to see what it was like many moons ago when things wasn't this way, when we didn't have access to things, and that was taken away from us for a short time. I don't know, Emperor, if in the States you had any similar situation, but here in the UK there was a time when you couldn't go to your loved one's funeral. Right. At the start of the pandemic for us, we had children being buried without their parents, and I never thought I would live to see something like that happen.
Wow. Right. Yeah, they did the same thing here. It was it wasn't great because I've known some people that they're still dealing with that kind of stuff. Like, you're never gonna not say, "Oh, okay, it happened. It was COVID." You know, chuck it off as it's just happened. No, you're never gonna get over the fact that you didn't go to your father's funeral. You didn't go to your child's funeral. You didn't go to your graduation. You didn't go to your prom. You didn't do the things that you've been waiting all your life to do. Now it got shut down because of one major thing. Well, major because the whole world is going through it at the same time. Even if it wasn't a so-called pandemic, it is because the world has been captured at the same time for one thought. That's powerful.
Shout out to everybody in the room. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for supporting us. Yes, I noticed that we don't have a title. We did have a title, but Stereo decided to throw us off, and we're back because, you know, the work must go on. So welcome to the May month-long, which we're only going up to the 18th summit. And for those who I've spoken to in the past, we do have something that we're doing this month, which is to buy black. That's not taken away from anyone else, but we wanted to put back into our own community. So if you've been able to buy black, then when I say buy black, buy from your local black stores. You know, we have people who've got black owned businesses, and if you've been able to do so, congratulations to yourself. Please continue to do so. We're doing that for 31 days of this month. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. So shout out to all the wonderful folks that's in the comment that actually have a business and you're making some form of money from that business in this time, because I know that this time has been difficult for many, but I find that a lot of us have rised above it and we've started businesses and a lot of them are flourishing. Do not get disheartened if your business is not flourishing as yet. A normal business normally takes between 18 to 24 months to pick up. So just do have faith in what you're doing and keep pressing forward. This is not the show to shout out your business, but if you wanted to come in and leave a comment and also say what your business is, that would be great, because at least people would know who you are and where to find you. But that's not the topic of the day. So you can come, add, your part to the show. The show is called Let's Remove the Veil, and it is 18 days of summit. We are on day 3, and I'm here with the amazing Emperor Koolie, and we're talking about energy today. But as I said, if you want to come in and, you know, put in your questions, or if you want to come in and just say something nice, you can, at the back end of that, you know, question, or, you know, whatever it is that you have to say, you can leave us your business details. So, you know, other people, when they come and play this back, they'll be able to know where to find you. And yeah.
I want to also say shout out to my brother Killjoy, who's in the building on YouTube and in stereo at the same time. Shout out to Killjoy in the building. I know he owns a few businesses. He may talk about some, he may not, but he popped in right on time. He definitely has a few business things he's venturing into.
My sister, I can see my sister in the comment section. Hey, Natasha, thank you for coming through. Hey, Paula, Diana Gordon, as it is on here. Thank you for coming through. And I can see Mazza 100, my co-presenter.
Oh, wow,
he's
nice.
in the building.
Welcome, welcome.
Go ahead and follow each other, you know, and do remember to keep it respectful. This is a peaceful place, and do understand that we all have boundaries. So by following each other, you will also continue to respect each other and keep the peace, because that's what we want to hear. You know, it's always a good vibes. Emperor Koolie.
Just also, if you're gonna leave a comment, just be aware that we are live on YouTube at the same time. So if you want to see that, then, you know, you can just tap the avatar, or you can hear, you know, hit my YouTube later and you can watch it if you missed it here today.
Most definitely. And we still have another bubble from Crazy Crow.
Well, sometimes that knowledge within you is dependent on that wealth you have in that house. Even though you're coming and going from that house, you're still dependent on that house. But there again, the house and technology taking you to a place that you don't need technology. That's what I'm trying to get at, and that's what I'm striving for.
Well, we're going to get to that point one day, my brother Crow, but for right now, we're going to use technology and nature at the same time. We have moved far away from nature, which I'm trying to keep us in the know. Like, how many people know how to still grow an apple tree, an orange tree? I know we got the seeds. What we do with the seeds when we eat the fruit? Throw them away.
Yeah,
Do we even have seeds anymore?
That's the thing. That's the thing.
Hold on. Killjoy is here with us live on YouTube. He wants to speak. Go ahead, Killjoy.
Yeah, that's the problem with everything nowadays. People want things right now, right here. We ain't got time to be waiting for things to grow. Everything's become like a easy peasy lemon squeezy feel. You know what I'm saying? Everything's prepackaged for you. Everything's ready in the grocery store for you. Ain't nobody know how to slaughter a pig or a cow or anything like that there. If we needed meat, we could have a cow right in front of us, such we wouldn't know what the hell to do with that damn thing.
But what about technology? He's trying to say, are we going too far towards technology? Too much.
We are, because we're leaning on technology way too much. What happens if tomorrow EMP Post takes out all technology? What are we going to do then? How many people are going to be stuck? We were talking about millions upon, if not billions of people are going to be stuck not knowing what the hell to, you know what I'm saying? What do you do when you don't know how to freaking spark a freaking campfire? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You ain't got the, you got to have the skills to survive in a world where you need to survive. You know what I'm saying? This right here, we live in first country, in first world issues. Oh, it's a long line at the freaking Starbucks, and I got a fender bender and stuff like that, and I gotta wait for insurance. That's first world crap. That's first world crap. You know what I'm saying?
We're gonna go back to stereo, send it back to good vibes. Thanks, Killjoy. Yeah, good vibes.
Thank you, Killjoy. I understand what he's saying, because, you know, we've moved so far away from learning how to do things naturally that, in actual fact, he's right. What if, as they say, one man decides to hit a button and everything shuts down? Are you able to manage? Are you able to survive? So he has made a very good point. He's made a very, very interesting point. I mean, how many of us could live without light? Are we able to light a fire, a campfire, if we had to?
I mean, I was in the military, so you know, I can.
Yeah, I'm my family's military, so I'm good.
Were you military?
No, I ain't military. I can't be with my MS. But freaking pretty much everyone in my family is military. My uncles, my cousins are Marines and Army. My grandfather was.
If the internet stopped, if the internet shut down today, you be all right?
Hell no, I wouldn't be all right.
No, it's gonna be difficult. It's gonna be hard.
It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough. No lights, no water. You know what I'm saying? It's everything is connected to the grid
right now. Everything's controlled by the AI. What do you think, Good Vibe? If it shut down right now, the internet, what would you be okay?
I would be okay. The beauty about studying environmental science is that you become sustainable. You learn how to be innovative. So for me, I wouldn't have to worry. And this is why the summit was so important, because I know that we all have natural skills, even if we acquired them as a profession or just naturally. There's skills that we can pass down to each other because we're sat on a wealth of knowledge that we're not using, and our communities are suffering. And why not pass on those skills so others could use them to survive out here? And it doesn't have to be in the same country as you are. Like for me, I know that 25% of the world, it could be 38% now, because that was 5 years ago that research came from, and we haven't seen any new research. But at the time, we knew that 25% of the world, our water comes from aquifers, which is underground, systems.
Mm-hmm.
And, I would know how to navigate because I studied into these areas. But for somebody who did not study in that area or haven't given themselves a chance to learn certain things, so just in case something should, if a pandemic can happen and the whole world shuts down, anything else is possible. So I would say, give yourself a chance in the natural world, because you never know what else is coming. So for me, good vibes would be fine, but I'm adaptable. I go with the economy. So anybody who physically know me, like Natasha in the comment section, and Diana Gordon and Mazda 100, they know what I do, what I study, and they would understand that area quite well to a certain point. So I'm sustainable. So whether or not we had electricity, I'd be fine. Whether or not we had gas, I could light a fire outside. And being Jamaican born, and between myself, Diana Gordon, and Natasha, we know about coal fires. So we know about getting a fire ready outside, killing a chicken and making that chicken. Some people would look in their cupboard and only see, a packet of plain flour and some salt. And they would look in their fridge and see some butter, and they would look at each other and say, we don't have any meals today. But by, growing up on the island, whether you come from a wealthy background or not, we're all taught to survive. So I could actually boil some dumpling, warm up some butter, and it's even nicer than the meal, your gourmet meal that you would go and sit in a 5-star restaurant and eat, and everybody would have been happy. So for me, as much as I do enjoy having a nice life, I do also, walk on the flip side, and I do understand that if things were supposed to be taken away from us, I could still survive, and my children would still survive, and all my friends and family around me would still survive. So I don't worry. But at the same time, if I needed to pass on some of these skills to somebody else, Good Vibes is open and ready to pass on some of these skills.
So you still live in the islands now?
Not at present. I'm in the UK at present.
Okay.
As it is, when you were brought up at home, I know a lot of Jamaicans, they come abroad and they lose their, their culture. They lose, more background. But as for me, I've always stayed closely to my background. I've always stayed closely. I do eat a lot of Jamaican food. So, you know, I've always stayed close to the culture. Me and Roy Truth, Leo, do talk a lot. So we talk a lot about home and what we remember from home. So, you know, us island people that stayed close to our culture, we're okay. We will survive out here. We know about wood fire.
Right.
We know about, you know, Dutch pots. And, you know, like you have the tire of a car and you take off the rubber bits and you have the metal.
Right.
We know how to set that up and put some coal in there or some wood in there and build a nice little fire, and we're able to make a meal. We know how to go bush and get, if you're into crab, I mean, I don't eat crab, but we know how to catch crab in the bush. We know how to go fishing. I mean, the last time I was home visiting, I went fishing with the guys. You know, I went fishing on the rocks. So, you know, I do learn to do things that just in case anything should happen in the future, I'm okay. My family's okay. My friends are okay. And, you know, not everybody is versatile like that. Not every female is going to want to go fishing. Not every female is going to want to go bush and dig for yam and cut down green bananas, which is alkaline and good for you. You know, a lot of us here in these foreign countries, I mean, we don't even know what is alkaline food. We see food that doesn't have any seeds in, and we think that's good for us. But in actual fact, what food source do you know that's natural that don't have a seed? So it's about educating yourself. So, you know, when it comes to energy is a massive thing. You know, it doesn't just stop in one place. You know, once the energy is flowing, everything that you need will be added onto you. I mean, some of us, we don't even have to go through all those things. You know, you get the downloads and you'll know what to do, but that's for a person that's in total alignment. And for the rest of us, we do come from countries where we've learned to do things naturally. And we've held on to those values that we've had, and we don't want to throw them away because we're in a foreign country. And then other people are so caught up in, you know, the Western lifestyle that if you do throw them off by hitting a button and closing down everything, then they would starve to death. Their family would starve to death, and they wouldn't even know how to, you know, the same trees that we talk about cutting down, I wouldn't have a problem cutting down a tree to make somewhere safe for me and my family to sleep at night, you know, to keep out any, you know, rodents that would be of harm to us or any animals. So, you know, it's just being mindful and finding a balance.
And I got to tell you, I live here in Harlem. I wouldn't know what to do with this tree outside in front of my window. I wouldn't know if it was healthy, what to eat. It just looks good from a window, but can I eat from it? Can it sustain me? Can I use it for make a boat, a raft?
Emperor is a machete.
Just looks good.
Back in the Caribbean, if you've got, we have one we call a cutlass and one we call a machete. And once you have a machete, you're good. It may take you a little while to cut down a tree, that over here, but you don't have a chainsaw, so you learn to do it the other way. I mean, many people have never climbed a coconut tree and picked a coconut, but in actual fact, we have jelly coconut back home, we have dry coconuts back home. You could climb a tree and take down some jelly coconuts, and you're filled for the day. Right. You're filled for the day. We have mango trees.
And there's nobody that's gonna run up on you and be like, "Hey, that's my tree. You can't run up in this. It belongs to everybody."
Most properties back home, they are fruitful. So on the land itself, the soil is so fruitful that most people do plant things on their land. So my house back home, we have something we call ackee. Yeah. I actually have the ackee tree.
And
we get them in a tin here. But we have the trees. So I have mango tree, jackfruit tree, sweet sop, soursop, passion fruits. We have yam beds, dasheen, cocoa, breadfruit. We have the whole lot. So, you know.
Maybe you want to go Caribbean now.
Yeah, not everybody lives on lands that is that fruitful. But, you know, my family, my ancestors before me, and, you know, my families live on this land for a long time. So they were smart enough to, you know, grow certain things on the land, and generation after generation, there's still my family living on the land and taking care of the land. So even though we live abroad, we live in a foreign country, there is still people back home that do look after the land and cultivate the land and make sure that the land is up to scratch and it stays fruitful.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. So, you know, I've had the privilege of, you know, experience both sides. And if you ask me now, which one do I prefer? Every Jamaican would tell you if they could go home tomorrow, they would, but we would need things to be more stable on the island. But I say to people now, in order to get that stability, those of us who have, you know, the resources, whether you've been to university or you've opened a business here or you've learned life skills, you can take these back home and put back in the environment. But it's just to get certain other aspects of the landform, you know, and the people to get them to come together, because obviously we have other issues on the island. But, you know, outside of that, if they decided that, okay, I'm here, I cannot get a plane back home because no plane can go up in the sky because, you know, the mechanics of the plane isn't working, Good Vibes would survive. So, you know, I would know what I need to do to survive here.
Mm-hmm. Good answer. And it sounds like you make an amazing partner. Like, I'm sure, I don't know if you're married, but woof, that's, I would never have asked for all of those things in a wife, and maybe I'm cutting myself short. Like,
well, you know, sometimes, you know, I notice in the West, when we choose our life partners, we choose them, but, you know, you're not supposed to choose. You're supposed to come in alignment with who is meant to be in your life. But we go ahead and we choose people that we think we're in alignment with because they look cute from the outside, and then you find out that they're not in alignment with you. So, you know, it's not always about the pretty face and the nice body and whatever. It's about what's upstairs. What
energy goes back to energy.
Yeah, so a lot of people may think it's about, you know, all of this new age stuff, this plasma TV, but, you know, back home, we are the TV. If you were in Jamaica and say today's bank holiday, you don't need a TV. We would crack jokes, and I'm telling you, in Jamaica, when you get together with your people, you're laughing from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. You don't need a TV. Because everybody's a comedian. And if you've ever come across Jamaicans that stay in their dialect and you understand the dialect, you laugh from you wake up till you go to bed. So, you know, we are our own entertainment, and we don't actually need a TV to entertain us or anything like that. Like myself, I don't really watch TV. I do play a lot of frequency music on there and meditation stuff. But as for watching movies and unnecessary things that is not going to educate me and it's not going to do anything to me, I don't really, you know, get involved in that. And I noticed that my children has also taken a stand with that. They're a lot like their mom. My daughters, they have their TV in their room, and God bless when they do turn on that TV. I don't even see the point of them having a TV. The only person that really watch TV is my son, and it's not very often. He has to have something particular that he's interested in to turn on that roots. So, you know, it's about, you know, children live what they learn. And if you are a person that is a TV addict or a phone addict or a gadget,
twice as much,
you know, love to be out in the house and always having to be around people and don't like your own company and all these different things, then, you know, they live what they learn, and they do build character, and they do add whatever they add to it. And so, you know, it depends on who you are as a person and, you know, what you bring to the table. What are you instilling in yourself? Because you cannot instill something in someone else. It doesn't matter if it's your child, if you've not got certain values and you've not instilled certain things in yourself. Because sometimes you don't have the foundation, but you can build the foundation, but you have to have an interest. And we're not talking about bricks and mortar. We're talking about internally. What do you tell yourself? What do you think about? Like, a lot of people spend a lot of time in their head and they think about a lot of nonsense that's unnecessary. And I'm not saying everybody do that, but whatever you feed the brain is what the result that you will get. So if you feed the brain good thoughts, you are more likely to get good results. But if you feed the brain a lot of nonsense, then you will get nonsense in return. So you have to choose what it is that you want and work with what you've got.
I agree.
Shout out to everybody in the room. I can see y'all. Thank you for coming out. And I I know you cannot see the topic, so for those of you who have just come in, this is the third day of Let's Lift the Veil Summit. If you go over to the Good Vibes page, you'll be able to see the topic that is up, and you'll be able to also catch up with other shows that we've done since Saturday. But we're here now, and yes, stereo did throw both of us off, and we're back because the work must go on. So we're here, we're live and direct in the building with our amazing Emperor Koolie. And to let you all know, he is live also on Instagram. So when you do come to put up your questions, do remember that he is live on Instagram. And on the back end of your questions, please let us know what business you do have, and, you know, shout out your business so people can follow you and, you know, support each other. That's what we're here to do. We're here to add value. We're here to elevate. We're not here to subtract or, you know, take away. We're here to uplift each other. If you have anything that you want to add to the conversation, or if you're struggling with anything in your community, today the topic is energy. We're dealing in energy. We spoke about earlier, we spoke about the terminology of Marbaka, and that is spelled Merkaba, and it is about, you know, Markaba.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you can actually go and look it up for yourself, but it talks about, you know, the light within you. It talks about meditation is a form of meditation. It comes from, you know, ancient Egypt. It also is mentioned in the Bible as ascendant energy. So if you are interested to know about that, you can jump over and have a look at it. I will give you a little insight into what is said about it. So it says it is similar to the Egyptian mummies. Marbaka is intriguing and weird. To put it simply, Mar means a light that rotates within itself. Kar, K-A, M-E-R, which means the light that rotates within itself. K-A, Ka means spirit, and Ba, B-A means physical body. But if you would like to dive deeper into that, you can just look up the word itself. You will see many different aspects of the word, but you can look into the meditation aspects, and it will give you quite a bit of information. Emperor Koolie, would you like to say anything before we start popping these bubbles?
Well, I would say like the Merkaba, it's like the soul or the light, that spirit that exists within the body. So it's the divine self within the physical self, which is what Jesus was saying anyway, and everybody else. They were really trying to say the same thing, but man convoluted it and made it look like the light was outside of the self. So you're never going to find it because you're looking outside for it, and when it's really within. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's pop these bubbles and hear what everybody has to say.
Good day to you, King Koolie. Good vibes only. It seems like, you know, as a people, we've come to be dependent on technology. And that was one of the dangers of the internet that was foreseen at
the AI.
At the exposure of it. And this right now is the effects of what is done, because, I mean, you think about our youth, they can't wait for nothing, you know, and the reason why they can't wait for nothing is they so acclimated to pushing a button and whatever they want instantly pops up. And they think that's the way that, you know, life and time works. So yeah, we become way too dependent on technology.
Right. Right.
I agree with that. I actually agree with that. We're more reliant on technology, but if they should remove it tomorrow, would we survive?
Now I remember.
And then you would to see what is really going on in the world. You'd be quite surprised how quickly people remember their heritage, their background, where their parents is from. If they were born in other countries that are tropical, they instantly remember all the things that their parents taught them. Even if it all don't come back flooding all at once, it will come flooding back little by little, depending on where they are on the journey. And then you'll have those who never took the journey at all, don't have that, you know, that link to their culture. And you will see the difference between who will survive and who will not. And for those who have the skills and resources, we will find out if we're selfish or we're loving. So, you know, we speak a lot about love and energy flowing and all these different aspects, but finding ourselves in these situations, if we took it up a notch and turned off all this wonderful things we think is so amazing, how would we treat each other? Would we still love and want to share what we have with each other? Or would we start just marking it out that, you know, when you used to see people do 1, 1, 1, 1, you have 4 ones and then they put a cross between it. So that's what, 5 days? Is that 5 days or 5 months? And then they will decide that we have this much food, so I can't share with my neighbors, because if I give them something from this month, I won't have anything for next month. So you'll actually have a full understanding of the world that we live in. But right now, we're not going through that as yet. And I pray we never have to go through that, because that's when we would know what a war looks like, because it would be survival of the fittest. We hear this terminology all the time, but it would definitely be survival of the fittest. And you probably, like myself, you asked me before, would I survive? And I said yes. And somebody might think, okay, Good Vibes will be able to survive. I'm going to go where Good Vibes is, because guess what? She can actually do things for herself. So I'll just wait for her to do it, and then I'll just steal it for myself and my family. So you have many things that you would have to, you know, trial and tribulations that you'll have to overcome.
Right, exactly. I wanted to say shout out to Fuck You. He's a good friend of mine. I just didn't know if I addressed him when he walked in the room. Appreciate you, Fuck You. Fuck You, FAHCUE. Fuck You. Appreciate you.
You're very good at pronouncing. I sometimes look at some of these names and I'm like, okay, I don't want to say a swear word.
Right. You just have to be very fine on how the accents, where to put the accents, you know?
Yeah, I don't want to say the swear word, because you think to yourself, okay, if I try to pronounce this name, it's going to sound like I'm saying a bad word.
Yeah. And also, anybody who's leaving messages, we are live on YouTube if you just came in the room. So you may end up, your question or comment will be on my live YouTube channel. Thank you.
So if you do not want that, then you can message King Koolie or myself separately to, you know, ask your question, and we still can answer it.
Right.
But as we said, we are live. Ascension T is the next person in our bubble.
Hi guys, how you doing? Hello, King Koolie, looking so fresh and so clean with your clean cut, looking like a 17-year-old.
You mean in real life or my avatar?
Hey, Mr. King Koolie, I love your new look, even though it looks like you're 17 years old. Feel like. Hi, Miss Good Vibes Only. How are you today? I'm just passing through, seeing how you folks are doing today. Hope you're doing very good on this Monday afternoon. Take care, guys. Just passing through. Wish you well.
Yeah, you know, I've been feeling pretty youthful these days, you know, as my avatar shows. Not only that, in real life, if you go to my YouTube page, I look just like my avatar. I don't know what you're talking about. Thank you, Ascension T.
And we do have Ascension tea again.
It's so true, Miss Good Vibes. You're absolutely right. People are just picking people just because the person likes them or whatever, and they're not really getting to know them, or the person looks good on the outside. But to me, character is very important, and being in that alignment is very important to me. Back in the days, yeah, it was always about looks and everything. I mean, I would get into these relationships. I'm like, damn, what the hell? Like, it's no, I mean, it just, we're not in sync personality wise and even vision wise. So, I mean, I guess the older you get, that's when you stop looking at what's on the outside and you still more so look at what's in the inside of the person, and are they in alignment with you, with your goals, dreams, and aspirations, and also, do you guys fit one another? Are you guys willing to grow together? There's a lot of other stuff, but those are the main components, and people just don't look at that nowadays.
Right.
But one of the things we notice is that a lot of us do fall in love with potential. And as you get older and mature, you're not supposed to fall in love with potential. So while you're growing and evolving, these are some of the stages that you will pass through. But once you've gotten to a certain stage on the journey, you no longer see potential. If somebody have a potential, yeah, they have potential, but they're not for you. They're definitely, whether you're a man or a woman, they're not for you. You don't look for potential in people anymore. They have to have substance. So what do they really come to the table with? If, as King Koolie said before, the world should press a button and everything stops, is that person able to hold his own, be able to take care of the family? In this 21st century, you no longer have to look to a man to do all the work anymore. Women have also stepped up to the plate and is ready to meet the man halfway. I can't speak for those that have not ascended yet, because when they don't, or they've not ascended, they still think potential. They still think, okay, I come to the table, but this man must look after me, and he must have $1 million or £1 million in the bank, and I want this and I want that. But what do you bring to the table?
A nation
what can you offer this man?
A nation can raise no higher than its woman. That part. So we think that just by keeping her behind, we're going to continue to be like, rah, rah, rah. It's a facade of the reality of what's natural. So the nature can't go, you're the nation is in the female's womb. She holds a whole nation in her womb. Then you have to treat her as a whole nation, not just as one girl in the world. No, she's a whole nation that you're dealing with.
Yeah, so you have to see the reality of what a person brings to the table. We no longer do potential. If you meet an empress and you identify as an empress, but you're seeing potential, she's not an empress, she's a princess.
Right.
Making way to queen, but she's not an empress. An empress is a whole package. If you're not able to step up to the plate, she can step up to the plate without a complaint. She knows her position, and she knows that she will have to hold that fort until you can step up to the plate. Not because you've chosen to just take a back seat and not do what you're supposed to do. Life do throw us different challenges. But at the same time, we're not feminists out here, whatever that means in this society. When your emperor is back in his full form, that now you have to step down a notch and let him lead, because an emperor is supposed to lead. A lot of men, when a woman say you're supposed to lead, they don't mean lead. They mean go and buy me a nice car, go and buy me a nice house. I want a Louis Vuitton bag. But that's not leading.
No.
That is not leading.
Not at all.
And a lot of women, when they step in their masculine, and yes, I spoke about this with goddess, the love goddess, Alexa, Venus Alexa recently, because we had looked at a video. I'm not sure what state it was in, but a lady that goes by the name of Shirley, because this video has gone viral, she had a 38 in her hand, and she was calling out the neighbor to come out because she wanted to, do what they had to do. And I was asked, what my thoughts was on the video. And I said, it's a good thing she's in masculine. And I was asked, what do I mean? And I said, well, if she was not a masculine, everybody within any close proximity would have died. She would have killed everybody on the spot, because when you're in feminine, and if you're a true feminine, you do have, your emotions. And as women, we can be very emotional. So you have to have that balance. And while Shirley was in her masculine, Shirley was able to hold a fort. She was stood there. I didn't appreciate the fact that she had that in her hand, but obviously, you guys have your Second Amendment rights, so she's in her right to have her 38. And she was speaking. As much as she had a stern voice, she was in her masculine, she was actually talking. Now, if Shirley was in her feminine, even the people who recorded her, they would have died, because she's going out of emotion. She wouldn't have screamed, she wouldn't have shouted, she wouldn't have asked no questions, she would have just gone in, pop, 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 everybody's dead. But she was in masculine form. Now, the thing about her being in masculine, now she would have gone to prison for life, because being in masculine, you are in a frame of mind where you've given yourself time to know what your next move is going to be, whether you need to defend yourself or not. Yeah. So, sometimes it can seem like a good thing, but it's actually, when it comes to the law, and we all have to abide by the law, it could go against you. But it's also like what I was saying before, when a feminine has to go up into masculine and do what she has to do for her family, and to also stand beside her emperor and do what needs to be done, once the emperor is able to step back into his power, because we don't know, life throws us also a curveballs, and our job is not to take away but to add. So you're supposed to add value. So while your emperor is not in circulation, you step up, you do what you need to do. But when it's time for your emperor to step up, back up in his power, you hand him back his masculinity. Because as females, when it comes to our masculine side, I've said it and I will not apologize for it, we do borrow our masculine from our emperor, whether you've met your emperor or not. In order to go up into masculine as a woman, yes, we do have masculine and feminine, but the energy from the masculine side is borrowed from our emperor. And when the time comes, you need to be able to hand that power back to that man and hold your position as his feminine, as his empress. Mm-hmm. Many may not agree with what I've just said, but once you've ascended and you've done the work on the journey, what I've just said will make sense to you. But until you've done the work, nothing that I say will make any sense.
Well, a lot of people don't understand and realize what you're saying is ma'at, it's balance. So
that's confirmation.
Right. There's confirmation.
You hear the siren?
Yeah, it's New York.
Yeah. What it is.
It's New York, so y'all might hear that every couple of years. It's New York, so anyway, balance, my see now the divine feminine energy brings in the balance. It brings in the judgment, if you will, the balance. That's why you see the lady judgment. She's holding the scales, but she's blindfolded at the same time. They don't want you to bring that emotion up in here. Absolutely. It's not about your emotions.
You can't find people gone missing.
That's it.
Yeah, you be looking for people and you can't find them. They're missing. You don't want feminine to stay in masculine. This is why now you have all of this movement, and you have all of this feminists, doing all this activity around the world, and people think it's a good thing. But you're born a woman for a reason. Yes, if you're a single mom and you have to step into masculine and do what you have to do, then you have to step up to the plate, because there's certain people that you're going to have to deal with. There's certain situations that you have to deal with where people concern.
So
once you've gone ahead and dealt with those things, you're supposed to come right back down into feminine, because no man wants a woman that's masculine all the time. That's not cute. That's not sexy. That's not, appetizing to a man. So you have to find the balance. And when it's time to give him back his masculinity, then you are supposed to do. As I said, not everybody will agree, because it depends on if you've ascended or you haven't ascended. Good vibes don't say anything to swell any masculine's head. It is what it is. I understand who I am and I understand myself. So
technology, that's part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Koolie?
Yeah. I have to agree with him a lot. He thinks of things in an abstract way. So yeah, I agree.
Can we have Ascension T again in the comment section?
Like this day of age, it's like everything is all about sex. Sex, sex, sex. It seems like sex rules the world. And,
Not in my world.
People just focus on, I mean, look at the Instagram models. I'm not trying to degrade them or whatever. And, you know, just everything is about sex. Like we lost the essence of who we are and also what we're looking for and what truly we desire within our hearts that will help us to grow and be better. And, you know, that will make us happy internally and not just materialistically or okay, how I look with this person or whatever, this and that. So we lost sight of that spiritual, you know, connection. And some people, they don't even realize that you need to be connected emotionally, spiritually. And those are components of relationship and also set a good foundation, you know, and just people are just really into just the physical aspect or even material aspect of a person.
And by doing that, we actually don't build a firm foundation, and those relationships don't last. We build a foundation on quicksand, and it's very easy for those foundations to be toppled down because it wasn't built on a firm foundation.
Yes, exactly. Especially when it doesn't start with self-love. Because then nobody can really give me nothing. Like I haven't been with anybody but myself in the last 5 years, so it's definitely not sex for me. I'm looking for something else, I guess. But then, you know, The other part would just be a bonus, but that can't be the end all be all. Just like this life that we're on is the journey. It's not the end all be all, and neither should sex in a relationship. Although it's important because sex is not what we think it is. It's really sacred exchanging of energy, back to energy again. Now we're having so-called sex now, but it's sacred, it's spiritual exchanging of energy. It's not really what people think it is. Because it starts in the mental first, goes down the cerebral. We went through this. It goes down the spinal fluid, back into the seminal fluids, and that's energy. That's exact energy. That's thoughts. That's your DNA. That's what you had yesterday for breakfast. All of that information goes to your partner, like without you even knowing. Choose.
Well, I think
twice.
what you're referring to is meaningless sex. That's what you're referring to.
Even still, it's still very powerful.
And
We might call it
because it's a sacred.
sex, but it's still powerful.
It's a sacred thing,
Right?
Exactly. And you cannot do this thing with any and everybody. So if you don't intend to do it with your divine masculine, then I don't think you should do it at all.
Well, if you are having it, then know that is your divine.
And they're not. Sometimes you meet someone that's not your divine masculine.
Right.
Sometimes we can be ourselves because
your power.
We love to be feelings. And then when we meet our divine masculine, if he's standing in his power, that's not his first thought. And if you are his divine feminine, even if you feel that way towards him, you're able to wait. Because obviously that's not why you're there. You're not just there to just be, fulfilling your needs or his needs. But you have to be in alignment to, go through that process. But not many people think that it is that way, and they just tell themselves, well, it's always said, it's like we can just do it, and that's what it is done. And most people won't wait for that to happen. Like, if you don't want to do it, well, somebody else will do it, and they go about their business, and next thing you know, they pick up a disease. And, a lot of times we think about physical disease, but we don't think about the spiritual diseases that we may have. So there's levels to this thing, to be honest.
Slight comment you made, but I just want to chime in with this real quick, take it for what it's worth. But I kind of, used to say to people a lot of times, I think probably a third of what I know. I probably would go as far as a third of what I know. Then I come from personal life experience, formal education. For me, it came through, informal education through television. I'm a big television watcher. Maybe a function, of my age, my generation or whatever. But over the years, I learned a lot growing up through watching television. I'm not talking about silly sitcoms. I'm not talking about mindless, frivolous programming. I'm talking about serious programming. And to this day, a good chunk of the information I get about them.
To do with television, I tend not to watch TV. I mean, each of their own. I tend not to watch TV because television, the programs on the TV, it is set up in a way for you to either catapult towards it or not, but it's not natural. Those programs are, set so you can either, whatever interest you have, you'll go towards them. So in order to have a real experience, you have to be out here in the world and meet real people, experience real situations. I'm not saying your experience is wrong. I'm just saying for me, I don't find that, it's just like for me, the news. The news is what they want to show us. A documentary is what they want to teach us. It's not what it really is. It's not, they fix it how they want to fix it and make it look more pretty. Sure. But in the reality, if you do the uncut, the unedited version, nobody really wants to watch that. But that's the natural form of whatever it is that you're going to see. But instead, they put it in a way and fix it in a way so you can, be appetized by it. But what you're watching, is that real? Just like, people not dealing with their inner self, they would rather deal with the person that they tailor for each individual. What is real nowadays? What do we class as real or real experiences? So, each of their own. Depends on where you are on the journey. It helps you to understand things differently. Just like now, when I was much, much younger, in my early 20s, I was into concerts. I was into, I was never big on celebrities, but I've always been, a music junkie. I love music. And if you look on my Instagram, most of what I post, you'll find music on it. And it's never about what the person is singing about. That doesn't faze me. I don't hear nothing at all. If you hear me learn a song, that's because it's meaningful. So basically, I only listen to a beat. Everything else I zone out, but the beat itself is what does it for me. So, each people have a different experience of the world, and depends on where you are on the journey, you'll have a different experience.
Yeah, I'm one that usually, like The Matrix, it woke me up, Star Wars. Like, I kind of get what he's saying. Like, if you use your third eye open, you might be able to pick up some of the jewels in some of these films and documentaries. Like, I know I can watch it, but I watch it with a grain of salt, like you said. But then I have to do my own research afterwards. Like when I watched American Gods, I understood that they were talking about the Queen of Sheba and this, that, and the other, and Odin. And you go back and do the research anyway. Don't just let it stop there. So I kind of get what he means about you can learn from television, but it takes a lot more digging. It's not just the television, as you said. You can use it as a tool, only as a tool.
I find that majority of the things that they put on TV for us to watch, it takes us away from the real experience of life. So, the reason why we don't really know what's going on in life, because we're so busy being distracted. But if you remove all of this away, you find out that, like here on stereo, I enjoy listening to different artists come up and, play their music. Sometimes it's a beat, sometimes they sing on the beat, and I find that there's real talent over here. And I prefer that to the nonsense I hear them singing on the TV. By the time you finish playing the song, you don't even remember what the song was about. You don't remember the beat. So, each of their own, as I said, everybody have their own journey that they're on, and depends on which part of the journey you're on. Things that used to entice you don't entice you anymore. So for me, what I used to find fun and what I used to laugh at and thought it was a joke, now that I'm much older and a lot wiser, I don't know everything. I'm still learning every day. I'm the teacher, but I'm also the student. And as I grow and evolve and learn new things, I realized that what I thought was important and what I thought was fun is actually meaningless. And that's not in everything. But a lot of things that I thought was amazing is actually meaningless. We've got Michigan Man Dawn again.
Gosh, I can never time that thing. Right? And to this day, a lot of the serious things that I learn about, that I'm trying to learn about and get exposed to, for me, is through television. Everybody's different, but I think I can make a good argument with a lot of specifics. To someone about how television can be extremely helpful if you utilize it correctly, can be extremely helpful to them becoming broader minded, exposed to other cultures. It's a lot of things that you can do through television that doesn't cost very much to do, that otherwise if you did it in real life, if you learn through some other means in real life, it will cost you a lot. So I'm not talking about entertainment television, but there's a lot of substantive information-based television out there, at least here in the United States, that I think a lot of Americans would do good to watch, listen to, think about, learn. Since I joined Stereo November, television gets decried, beat up a lot on Stereo. I've heard a lot of interesting perspectives, including people breaking the word television down. One young lady here said some months ago, well, I don't watch television because that's what the word means, is telling you a vision, right? So that's why she didn't watch it. So then she goes on from there. it explained a whole lot of other what I consider to be fanciful conspiracy theories of hers. So I guess she's getting her vision from some other place other than television. But yeah, I hear it decried a lot here, and I just wanted to get that counter argument in as to the potential goods that I see that one can gain through television. Okay, I'm done. Shutting up now. Thank you both for your time.
Well,
thank you.
Television is one thing, but the thing is called the television program because it's actually a program at the end of the day. They're programming you somehow.
Well, for me, I mean, I understand what he just said, and my thing, the reason why I'm not watching the television or watching many things, I mean, unless my friend call me and they are in the comment section as well and say, oh, have you watched this program, Good Vibes? And I'm like, no, I don't know. Like, if they don't tell me about a film, I don't know that it exists. Yeah. So I do watch very few movies, very few series. It's normally one of my friends that will hook me up onto what's happening. And you wouldn't believe that every room in my house have a TV. But I'm not, at that stage in my life. Yeah, I'm at the stage in my life that I've done all of that, and I'm all about having real life experiences, talking to real people. I've already been there, I've already done that, and I've gone on to the next stage in my life where I would rather, have real experiences with real people. So that's for me. I cannot say that would be for somebody else, but I have the mindset of a 70-year-old. So what would be of interest to me when I was in my 20s. In my 30s, I have no interest in those things. I have interest in things that can help me to grow and evolve, and also things that I can pass down to my children, because at some point my time will be up and I will have to go on to wherever God is taking me to, and I won't be here anymore. And what substance will I be leaving my children? So, one of the greatest gifts I could give to them is knowing the divine and being able to pray. And now I don't have to remind them, even though in the mornings before they step out to go to school or college, I will say to them, did you remember to pray? And sometimes they'll do it in the car, but I don't want them to do that. I want them to have the discipline of doing it in the house before they step their foot outside. So I have different things that I have an interest in, and I have 3 children, so I have a lot that I need to teach them before that time comes for them to, they're ready to leave home or go off to university, that they may stay on campus. And the more information I can, give to them is the better chance they have out in the world, because they will make their own choices. But as we know, when you've exhausted all avenues, you will always come back to what you've learned. You will always come back to the middle, no matter how far out you go. So that's where Good Vibes is at. Yeah. We've got Crazy Crow again in the comments.
Well, I have a kind of a business. I've been studying genes for the last 20 years, and I've been struggling with the authorities to get my point across. And I don't want to be struggling for another 20 years just to try and get my story across. So I got to make a move. I got to do something. And I have Crazy Crow DreamWorks. It's on the Wix app, but then that's been giving me grief, and some people can't seem to join it when a lot of people said they tried to get on, but they couldn't get on, so I'm having difficulty with that. And I've been having a lot of difficulty with my phone and hackers and you name it, authorities.
They were suffering from that improvement. Crazy Crow. I mean, I recently was hacked, and I was hacked really badly. Every platform that I have was hacked into. The difference is they weren't able to take anything of substance from me. I cannot say the same for other people here in the UK, where, up till, the last time I checked, £35 million has been stolen from people. So all their savings are gone. One day they looked in their bank and their savings was there, and the next day they look, everything is gone. So, You know, I think it's time that we get to a point where we start physically doing things. And I know that there's a pandemic right now, but there's other avenues that you can use. And if you're finding that your website is a problem and, you know, you can't access, you know, different things. So I would say, I know that a lot of people say one of the safest sites to go and do things on is Discord. So I would say read up on Discord before you jump onto it. I don't know much about Discord. I only came across it in the past 2 months since I've been over here on Stereo. So I would say look into it. And if it's right for you, then jump on. Or find yourself a site that, you know, to be honest, you're going to always have interference in all the things that you do. So I would say just go back to the drawing board, take it apart, put it back together, and yeah, move forward. You know, you'll always have some sort of fight back, you know, in everything that you do. If it's not the authorities, it could be even a friend that you trust, and that same friend is there to sabotage you because they don't have it in them to step up and do what they need to do for themselves. So, you know, we go through different things in life, but there's always a way around everything. I mean, if that's where you're meant to be and that's in alignment with you, then go forward, regardless of whatever, you know, setbacks you do have. I mean, if the support is there and people support what you do, regardless of what, you know, obstacles you do have, those people will wait for you and they will, you know, continue to ride with you regardless of whatever obstacles may come up. And, you know, these are some part of what life throws you. I mean,
sounds like
you can't allow to break you down. He does. And I would say, from what I understand, Discord is a sort of place that you can do a lot of things that you can't do on other platforms. So maybe the platforms that you're using is a problem because of...
See, I know about Wix, so you have to pay. After a while, it's free. But if you want to do more things with the site, like he's building his own website himself with Wix. So when people try to sign on, they're going to want them to, like, subscribe and all of this stuff. So most people just say no. Now, he needs to find it, like, if he can afford to get his own website where it's free, where people can come on and see his work without having to pay to look at it, type of thing.
I've never used Wix, but I've heard that it's an absolute nuisance. So you're not the only one that's having problems with it. Majority of people who use that site, it's never, you know, does what it's supposed to do for them. But don't let it get you just...
What his work, is he trying to write a book with it? Is he trying to make a film, a documentary? If you can explain, like, what you're trying to do, maybe there are people to help you, because I come from an entertainment film background, so I'm not sure exactly what you're really trying to do with the product. Maybe you don't want to say it here, but what I'm getting is it a book? Then just write the book. You can publish it yourself. Nowadays, you can do things yourself. You don't have to wait for somebody to discover you, so to speak.
Okay, we have more people in the bubble. We have Senin in the bubble. Welcome.
Hello. I have a good story. I want to get a fish. Then I got a big fish, like this.
Children.
Well, he just got blocked, just like that.
Yeah, that's the way I see it too. Like, television is kind of a past, and that I do like mixing and mingling with the smartphone. But there was a time that I relied on TV quite a bit because I didn't have a sense to desire something different. Like, I've had sleeping dreams, and they were so flabbergasted. I wondered, how the heck did I even think of that? And then 2 days later, I'm watching television, and I see the same dream, the exact, well, not the same dream, but the same show on television is what I dreamt about 2 days previous. So television does mix and mingle with our minds and manners and ways that our sleeping dreams are minds for. And as far as vision, like, you can close your eyes and look back instances of the past. You can open your eyes and see what's going on in your right. eyes open and recall images of the past as if I was watching or looking at a photograph on top of another photograph or a photograph on a video. So I didn't realize that was possible, and that's part of the visions, and visions is what I'm interested in, but I didn't.
That'd be amazing.
And sometimes, you know, he's awake, he's woken up. That can be scary for the authorities, that can be scary for people, and that's not what society wants you to do. They don't want you to wake up. They don't want you to be telling people your dreams and stuff, and they will try to suppress that for you if you're not suppressing it yourself. So I understand, definitely understand where you're coming from. Emperor Koolie?
Yeah, I would just say with him, as far as I would like to see that in the visuals, some of the stuff that he described that he's been working on for the last 20 years, I can actually see that it's in his mind and it needs to come out. So I'm thinking book or documentary, something like that, but I do see film, some kind of film work, and he's definitely comes from a TV type background, like you said. I just see that he's trying to get this story out, and somehow he needs that help. So it's bottled up inside for years. Yeah.
Okay, well, I want to thank everybody that's, you know, come in and commented, those who have clapped it up. I've seen you guys. You know, those who are in the comment section, you know, even though you may have not come through and said anything, we're still grateful for you. I mean, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to spend this time with us. And Emperor Koolie,
yes.
I am absolutely delighted that I've had this time with you. I felt like I've not spoken to you forever, but you know, the last couple of weeks has been kind of crazy.
Yeah,
and it's going to get
I've been watching you. You had a show earlier today as well.
I did, because I do the Mental Health Monday. I'm also fasting, and obviously you have to conserve energy. So I'm trying not to do too much during the day, but I know that I do have the evening show, so I conserve all my energy for the evening show. But I do choose to go ahead and do the mental health awareness on Monday with Mrs. Red, and that is the reason for that is because it's helping at least one person. And you know, I'm all about doing work, and that's what I'm out here for. So, you know, I do my part, whatever I can do to support, I do that. But at this present moment, I'm not taking any daytime shows except for the Monday show, because, you know, if you're really going to do the work and do the fasting, then you know that it does take a lot out of you, and you still have to stop and do the prayers and stuff. So, you know, you don't break your fast till 6 p.m. If you've had to start your fasting late, you still got to put back in the time, so you may not finish till 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And if you're actually, no, I did the Lent fasting for 21 days, and then obviously I came out of the 21 days. I should have been doing 40 days instead, but I broke my fast because I'm not trying to make myself unwell, and you have to be in full health when you're doing fasting. It's not about trying to get slimmer or anything like that. So I did do a break in my fast, so I could eat properly and get my strength back up, and now I'm back on the road. So yes, I do know that I do have this summit to do, and I give it my 100% attention, and that's why, you know, during the day I've not really booked any show. Just on the Mondays, me and Mrs. Red do the you know, the mental health awareness, and in between, me and Mazza, my co-presenter, we'll do a couple of shows, but we're not doing anything, you know, outside of the norm that I have to burn a lot of energy, because, you know, my health is my greatest wealth, and, you know, I have to also look after number one before I can look after anybody else.
And it's important because you can lose a lot of energy, even though you're giving out. Like I said, you can take the energy of the people that you're helping, which is amazing, but you can take on their energy. You're giving them healthy, and it has to recirculate. So you might be that conduit that can.
Actually, I don't. I used to, and it used to do a lot. Like it's if you've taken on people's energy in the past, then you know how that feels. It can deplete you, completely wipe you out. So over time, it didn't happen overnight. I learned how to protect my energy. So I can be out here in the open, but I know exactly how to protect my energy, and I do exactly that. And I know when to pull back myself from everybody. They might be thinking, oh, where's Good Vibes? Good Vibes is looking after Good Vibes self because I'm of no use to my own family if I'm not looking after myself. Never mind family out here. So yeah, at times you won't find Good Vibes anywhere, but that's because I also need to protect my energy, and I know exactly, you know, why I'm here. I know what I'm here to do, and that is why also you asked me earlier, why have I not turned purple? And you know, that's one of the reasons for that too. Sometimes that can draw energies that you don't want to be around because you've got this purple button. So until that time comes, the purple button will stay where it is, and Good Vibes will stay where she is, and I will continue to do the work that I'm here to do, and yeah, go forward. But thank you so much.
I'm sure everyone appreciates.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I appreciate every one of you guys because, you know, I never knew that I was going to come on stereo. I didn't know that I was going to bring the Solution Lab here. I had no idea that I was going to do the Self-Care Sunday here. And I certainly did not know that I was going to bring all my students, at least 90% of my students do come here as well. Wow. They go wherever Mentor go. And, you know, also I've met some amazing people here. So, you know, I mean, I don't know how much you guys know about your soul tribe, but I found my soul tribe here without even looking for them. And, you know, that was amazing to find my soul tribe. So, you know, you don't go looking for them, you know, you become in alignment with your soul tribe. So that's what happened to Good Vibes. So I didn't even have any clue that I was going to be doing the summit either. So I'm just led, and whatever I'm led to do, that's what I do. And I don't just get up and have an idea. When I tell people that I don't think a lot, they find it very strange because they're like, so how do you come up with all these ideas? All I do is talk to the divine, and I say to him, you know, lead me. Whatever words I need to say, you put them in my mouth so I can speak them. Whatever I'm here to do, you guide and protect me on this journey. And whosoever is supposed to be on my path, just let me know when those people are in front of me so I will know who they are. And that's the way I move forward every day in my life. So I don't force anything. If you force something, it will not match. So this is why you see me the way I am. It's not because I'm some kind of way. I just work with the divine. So if I'm not meant to be somewhere or be around a group of people, you won't find me there. Not because I'm choosing not to, but that's not my purpose here. I'm very much so aware of who I am, and I'm very much so aware that I'm in alignment. So by being in alignment, you're not going to put yourself anywhere where you're not supposed to be. But in my case, I've just allowed the divine to lead me wherever I need to go, and I completely trust God himself. And everywhere I go, every day that I breathe, get up and breathe, I'm thankful. So yeah, when you guys hear Good Vibes and I'm all happy, I'm go lucky, I'm happy for simple things. I'm happy for the fact that I wake up every morning and I look, my limbs are moving, I can breathe, I can get up, I can walk. And when I go in my kids' room and I check on my children, they're all breathing, they're all healthy, they're all fine. That's all I ask for. Everything else that I get in life is a bonus.
Yes.
Even breath. So I'm a very simple person, a very minded person, even though I'm across the world.
Don't need much.
Yeah, so I don't need much. It may seem I need a lot, but I don't need much. All I need is the divine, and everything else will be added onto me. But thank you so much for doing this show with me. Thank you so much, everyone, in the comment section. Thank you so much to everyone on YouTube. I'm much grateful.
Yes, thank you, brother Keith Farrell from YouTube, Bersha Belay, Cece Jackson, Mr. PIMP, DJ, Dark Legacy Entertainment, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank thank you, Killjoy, for pulling up, hanging out with me on YouTube Live. Thank everybody live on YouTube. One last kiss.
Empress, thank you all for coming out.